I feel like a forerunner. More than 10 years after unsealing the hushed casket, the boys at 343 Industries, Bungie and Spirit, are honoring their longtime legendary loyals later this year with yet another rendition of the real 2001 Space Odyssey, Halo Combat Evolved. Bungie's breakthrough that redefined the first-person shooter's limitations and set the genre loose on the home console market. A few months ago, we took a look at the anniversary edition of the game, and rest assured we'll have Halo 4's review for you when it ships. But to satisfy your insatiable nostalgic appetite until its release, we thought we'd take a look back at Master Chief's original outer space outing, when the FPS was still being fathered. First, the obvious question: why is Halo so significant to gaming culture? What impact and legacy has it left on the hearts and minds, both developer and player alike, within our illustrious industry? To mince words, what's everyone always talking about? What's the big deal? 20 years have forged the first-person shooter into the most popular genre in gaming, sure, but where Doom formulated, Halo reinvented, shocking the desktop shooter skeptics convinced that a control stick was no match for a mouse. Yeah, well, Bungie proved the naysayers' negativity null and moot. The player awoke from cryosleep on the class cruiser Pillar of Autumn as the Master Chief, a bioengineer badass Spartan super soldier with a penchant for silence, at least when it came to talking. Armed with the tenacious head-invading AI construct and his trusty assault rifle, and faced with an onslaught of alien Covenant forces, the Chief did what he did best before jumping ship for the ring planet below. After linking up with the rest of the Autumn's abandoned, it was up to human forces under the leadership of Captain Keyes to discover Halo's secrets before the Covenant, and hopefully turn the tides of a long-waged war. While the story may not hold much sway over younger generations who have the privilege of growing up with powerful sci-fi storytelling sagas like Mass Effect, Halo's plotline was at the time a satisfying simplicity that drew upon numerous movie influences and genres. The Master Chief was Clint Eastwood's nameless lone legend, the game's Marines were carbon copies of those featured in James Cameron's Aliens.
Hit 'em, Marines! Go, go, go! The Corps ain't paying us by the hour!
Let's go, people. They ain't paying us by the hour. Let's go.
Oh, man. We're trapped in here. We're screwed. We're screwed, man.
That's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? We're some real pretty shit now, man.
And the iconic Ring's traitorous guardian 343 Guilty Spark was eerily reminiscent of the HAL 9000 computer, that infamous electronic eyeball in Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey, which is an interesting connection because Halo was released in 2001, and you can spell Halo from the letters HAL, but I digress. Then, of course, as the name implies, there was that primal religious overtone that mixed with the civilized idealism of science fiction, a recurring theme that's been explored in notable cinematic space operas like Star Wars and Blade Runner. On paper, Halo's story could have been an incoherent mess of cheap imitation were it not for a tight script and a brilliantly devised duo dynamic in the Chief and Cortana. The quiet nature of Master Chief allowed the player to immerse themselves into the character easier, a lot like Gordon Freeman from Half-Life. But to counter the silence, you had the plucky machine guiding you from point A to point B. Chief was the brawn and Cortana was the brains. It was a beautiful marriage, quite literally a marriage. And of course, you had Halo's highlight and hallmark, its evolved combat mechanic. As previously noted, 2001 did not see the birth of the first-person shooter. The gaming world had been embracing unforeseen consequences in the landmark Half-Life for years, and skipping heartbeats while blasting aliens in the epiphanous Doom for many more. But those were PC titles. I mean, it's hard to believe now, but before Halo, no one believed the FPS could really cut it on the consoles. Yes, there had been a few successes, notably GoldenEye and Perfect Dark as the big two, but even they had serious control problems, much of that owing to the N64's one analog stick and awkward control. Halo, aside from marking a shift in the gaming market, really did live up to its publisher-endorsed subtitle, Combat Evolved, by revolutionizing the FPS fun factor thanks to an unprecedentedly fluid combat system. Tossing a grenade into a horde of grunts, whipping out your assault rifle to deal with a more powerful elite, and then bashing the fleeing stragglers with the end of your armament was the continually repeated essence of what made the game so damn entertaining. As a player, I'd never felt so free to engage an opposing battalion the way I wanted to, which is what gave Halo such a non-linear appeal. It helped that the open levels were massive, but again, it was the combat mechanic that never made it seem like you were treading the same ground twice. At least not until the latter half of the game, but I'll get to that. The enemies were smart, intuitive, dangerous, and gave the presence of a coordinated militant force. You had the smaller, expendable enemies that only posed a threat in numbers, the grunts, but then you had the bigger warriors and the elite who would duck behind cover, charge, and provide morale for the rest of their troops. If you took out the elites, the grunts would break formation and flee and wave their arms in the air. I mean, I can't even describe how hilarious this was in 2001. Yes, a surplus of attack options and some truly remarkable enemy AI served as spotlights, but Bungie's knack for innovation didn't intend to stop short. For one of the first times ever in a first-person shooter, and certainly the most successful attempt, vehicular travel was not only possible, but encouraged. A fluid exchange to a third-person perspective would precede the even smoother driving mechanics of the scouting Warthog, the hovering Ghost, the flying Banshee, and the devastating Scorpion tank. Each felt unique and served its own purpose. But arguably, Halo's greatest contribution to the FPS was the shield system. Sure, recharging health is the standard today, but in 2001, it was a revolutionary concept that added a strategic element to combat, so you weren't always rushing into firefights in a blaze of glory. You peek out, you take out some Covenant, and if you were in danger, you'd hide behind a rock or something. Now, in any other game, you'd always be charging forward, taking out enemies as fast as you could while looking for a health pack. In essence, before Gears of War defined the modern cover mechanic, Halo bred the cover mentality in the gamer, which in itself is a landmark for the genre. By the way, what happened to killing your own guys in video games? You used to be able to friendly fire. I used to like to steer the Warthog to the edge of a cliff and send my squad mates over the side. Oh, you might want to abandon ship, boys. Bye, fellas. Have a nice trip.
What the hell, dumbass?
That's so fun. Yeah, I'm sadistic, sue me. Rounding off Bungie's masterpiece, yeah, sorry, I couldn't resist the pun, was the phenomenal presentation courtesy of Microsoft's powerhouse, the Xbox. Oh so violent, a battle was always evidenced by bullet holes and purple alien gore, with the guns themselves boasting impressive particle effects that complemented the destructive sound of their unleashed barrels. Aliens flailed and flew as your assault rounds seemed to tear them apart. Spaceship corridors, forested hills, island beaches, derelict swamps, and snow-draped scenery all proved products of fantastic level design. I mean, these were massive set-piece locales. It felt like you were really at war with this alien race on this derelict ring. And that's another thing. What an awesome idea to make a planet out of a ring. I remember just tracing the horizon upwards. This was a video game, and I was in awe. That is, until the latter half of the game. Once the Insidious Flood was released, much of Halo's remaining campaign had the player backtrack over much of the same tedious terrain. Oh, and as to a certain level dubbed the Library, damn it to hell. Damn it to hell. The artificially lengthened mission, a frustrating copy and paste set of gray hallways and waves of flood, makes me sick at the mere reminisce. Though the game wasn't released in time for Xbox Live, basement multiplayer was enough to carry Halo's value an extra few kilometers up spin. Land firefights were enough to also further hold players over until Gearbox Software's PC port in 2003 would build an online community that would form the backbone of popular support for Bungie's future endeavors on the live service. And speaking as one of those communal members, I can't even begin to fathom how many hours I wasted away at my desktop on Death Island and Blood Gulch. Even the often brutal strings of lag couldn't hamper the Halo hardcore. And finally, what is to say about the Marty O'Donnell Monks in a Monastery score? Two sequels, a prequel, an expansion, and an anniversary reinvention later, the game franchise that gripped pop culture by its gonads more than a decade ago is back again this year. To be sure, the Halo franchise, though not obsolete, is hardly in its prime, and not without its fair share of haters who find themselves incessantly cornering themselves into their own snobbish fanboy camps. They can't seem to understand the game. Now, fandom is all fine and well, but the same tirade trolls who bludgeon Bungie's beginnings neglect to respect what Halo did for the gaming industry, which was to lay the groundwork for the infinite shelves of military shooters today. Sure enough, things were just getting started.